Hello and welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dax Shepard. Who are you?
Dax Shepard.
No, you're Manica Padman.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Joined by Manica Padman. This one pained me a lot to hold. We held this a little bit so that it could be on the very special day one of the Good Place week.
Kick off the week.
But it's such a tasty interview. It was driving me bonkers that we had to sit on it. We have, who is affectionately referred to in our home as Papa Ted.
Mm-hmm.
He's called Papa Ted because my kids call him Papa Ted, because anyone over 50 in our house is a Papa or a Gaga.
Right.
And he's over 50.
Yep.
Spoiler alert.
I'm almost a Gaga.
You're getting there. His name is Ted Danson, and he is just a big old sparkly beam of light.
Delight.
He's the nicest son of a gun. You know, you don't expect Sam Malone to be as cool in real life as he is, because he doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be at all.
He is Sam fucking Malone, and if he wants to strut around town with his feathers splayed, people would deal with it. They go, what are you going to do? He's Sam Malone.
Yeah.
But he's the opposite of that, my friends. He's a beautiful, loving fellow member of the Tall Guy Club, Ted Danson.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Welcome, Ted, to the Armchair Expert. And yes, hearing your voice in headphones through a microphone, to me, you went from actor to professor.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, like
Gravitas comes to mind.
Huge gravitas. And then I also want to say to you that your name among all other names, and it makes no sense. It gives me the most anxiety to say out loud. And this is not a bit. I say Ted. That's easy. We can all say Ted. Then Dan, fine. I can say Dan. Then when I get to son, I think, is it Sen or Son? Dan, Son. And I panic midway through your last name. And I talk about you a ton when you're not around. And so I bump up against this all the time. Is this? Do you
So
think
it's
this is
not a matter of you haven't said my name for a month and you panic.
No, it's that I could be saying it for the fourth time in a conversation,
Yeah.
and still I go
Yeah.
Ted Danson, and then is it?
Yeah.
You know.
I have trouble with my name as well.
Oh, you do good.
No, I really do.
Oh, good.
First off, it's the two D's right in a row. Ted Danson. You know, and I would say, "Hi, this is Ted Danson." They go, "Pat." And I go, so then my family accuses me, rightfully so, but this is an example of my pompous, ness is that when I call somebody or say my name, hi, this is Ted Danson.
Right. My own name sounds really weird when I say it out loud as well, especially like,
Could you say it out loud for me?
Yes, that would probably.
Just to remind me.
Dax Shepard. But yes, because I have a x and then sh, right? So it's similar to yours is Ted Danson.
Yeah.
And mine's Dax Shepard.
I literally, wherever I go, will load in the new names that I'm about to bump in, not the names of the people I'm about to bump into. I loaded your names today.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't.
Rob.
Yours, Rob.
He's referencing Rob, our quiet genius who really runs everything.
Yeah.
And you loaded them where?
In my head.
Oh.
I would say them.
Okay. That's.
Hey, Dax, good to see you. Yeah, that sounded good. Hey, Dax, I do that.
Yes.
My wife, Mary, always laughs and knows that I have no fucking idea who I'm talking to when I give them a huge hug.
Yes.
Clearly, I know who you are, or I wouldn't be hugging you.
Right. Where I want to start is we've had people on this podcast already going on and on and on about what a beautiful guy you are. This is the reputation you have, whether you are aware of it or not. Almost unanimously, people who meet you go, man, he delivers in every conceivable way. You're so friendly and kind and thoughtful. But part of me goes, well, yeah, these are other people that are in his industry. We don't really know if he's a terrible person. But I am one of the few people who does know the real Ted. Because,
That's true.
And I don't know if you remember me telling you this, but 1996, I'm a motorcycle messenger in California. I've just moved to Los Angeles, and I'm in Beverly Hills to pick up a package. I run upstairs. I come downstairs. I'm stuck at a crosswalk. There are a bunch of people that are very well dressed, and they're kind of miserable. And then I look over, and by God, you're standing right next to me. And this is thrilling beyond comprehension. I'm fucking standing next to Ted Danson. And you look at me and you say out of the blue, boy, you'd think these people with all this money would be a little happier. This is the sentence you say to a stranger. That stranger was me. And then the light turned walk and we both crossed the thing and I hopped on my motorcycle and I thought, boy, that's a very friendly, nice person. He is everything he portrays on TV.
Now, Dax.
Yeah.
Did that really happen?
I swear to God, on my children's life, that exchange happened in 1996. I presume you were coming out of an agency or something. We were like downtown Beverly Hills. I doubt you were shopping.
No,
Right?
no, I wasn't. I have
Yeah.
trouble with Beverly Hills, although they're wonderful shops and I probably have shopped there, but yes.
And I do believe in 96, that was the first time I saw your hair white or something. There's something else very memorable about your look in that moment where I was like, oh, that's his real hair color or whatever.
Now you could go two ways on that story.
Okay.
One is that's kind of judgmental, pompous. I'm above them. Look at me.
No, these people they looked miserable. They were wearing like thousands of dollars worth of shit and they looked very unhappy. I had noticed it independently of you.
Yeah.
And when I looked at you, you just had kind of a queer smile on your face. And then you kind of called that out.
Most of my smiles are queer.
Okay, good. That's part of your charm. But let me just ask you this.
Yes.
Of course you don't remember that. But does that sentence sound like something you would say? Because some people say stuff to me and I go, that doesn't sound like something I'd say. But that is what you would say, right?
Yeah. Plus, it's getting scary because I swore to myself that I wouldn't just do old jokes, old thoughts, old aches and pains today with you. But
Please
I
do.
have noticed that the older I get, we won't go old, we'll say older I get,
Yes.
that the censor between an idle, maybe even nonsensical thought and it flapping out loud to somebody on the corner of a street is getting, very thin. It's just out of my mouth. I also think I feel obligated to
Engage?
Yeah, it's like I'm always on camera, so I should be filling the space now. So
Yes.
there's a little lull in the traffic and the conversation, and this man standing next to me. He might even know me or recognize me. I better
did.
fill this space
Yeah.
with something charming. Hey, how about that traffic light? And then I'll walk away going, what an asshole I am. Shut up. Keep your mouth shut.
Oh, no. It was, well, first and foremost, you could have said nothing to me because, I was very fresh into LA. I don't think I had seen another celebrity in real life other than Jay Leno at a traffic light once, who also was nice.
I bet you were really cool as a motorcycle messenger
Well,
because I know how good you are
it's
on motorcycles.
suffice to say, I'm just grateful I'm here talking to you because the faster you rode, the more money you made. So those were two things I was obsessed with. And yeah. And then there was also there were many other motorcycle messengers. So often you'd be on the 405 heading north to the valley.
Yeah.
And there's 8 lanes of traffic and you're lane splitting. And then out of the corner of your eye, you'd see another motorcycle messenger with the signature messenger backpack over his back. And then it would be a full blown race on the 405 in heavy traffic. Because what else are you going? All you're doing all day long is zipping here and there.
And were you helmeted by then?
I was. Yes, I was.
You may be able to do stunts and do crazy things, but you're not silly. You wear padding, you wear leather, you wear all of that.
I want to say I would love to take that compliment. I do most often. Certainly, if I'm going on a canyon ride, I'll put leathers on and stuff. But if I'm in Wyoming and we're in the middle of nowhere and it's no helmet law, I will let that fucking wind cook through my hair, and I'll just have to deal with it.
You're so cool.
No,
seriously.
No. It's my wife does not enjoy it when we visit no helmet states. But you're from Flagstaff, Arizona, and you have a super interesting father.
I do. Archaeologist, anthropologist.
Mm-hmm.
He was a professor, a PhD down in Tucson, where we lived until I was about 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got a job to be the assistant director of the Museum of Northern Arizona and the Research Center, which was in a small town way a big deal internationally because you could go from 13,000 feet above timberline on the San Francisco Peaks, right there where Flagstaff is, all the way down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So you had the beginning of time
Yeah.
pretty much geologically and all the paleontology and botany and da-da-da-da-da and all of that stuff at your fingertips. So
Yeah.
we would, our house was filled with visiting scientists from all over the world when I was growing up.
How cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
And there's a specific Native American group there that he was-
Hopi, but the museum was created to be to help nurture the arts and the crafts and the culture of the Hopi, the Navajo,
Mhm.
and the Zuni Pueblo Indians in that
Yeah.
Four Corners area. So most of my friends growing up, because their parents worked at the museum, were either Hopi or Navajo, and my other couple of friends were ranchers' sons and daughters.
Small town? Or are you in Flagstaff?
30,000.
30,000. Okay.
But we were like 4 miles outside of town,
Uh-huh.
which when you're young is, forever. So literally I would be jumping on horses with my Hopi friends and just literally going in any direction we wanted for hours.
That sounds very idyllic to me. Was it wonderful?
Wonderful until you're 15
And you're horny.
and you're horny and you want a car.
And your two
and you-
Hopi friends aren't going to put out.
No.
But as I recall, that like a super peaceful tradition, right? Isn't there a lot of stuff?
Yeah.
mixed-
No, the Hopi, for example, never went to war with the United States. So they have never gotten moved. There's no treaty involving them. So they're a separate nation.
Oh,
Still to this day, they don't have to be. They can't be drafted. They can enlist, but they can't be drafted because they are a separate.
sovereign.
Yeah,
And
they are living in the same villages up on the mesas in Arizona that they had for 500 years.
Oh, wow.
Literally. So you can go see them worship their gods in the same way they have through the dances.
They
Kachina
weren't
dances.
as brutally stripped of.
No, they
their-
weren't.
Yeah.
They got messed with. They, at a certain point, the government decided they had to all be educated and bust, X amount of miles to a school. So
Right.
there was that, and there was no drinking on the reservation, so everyone came to town. There were a lot of problems that were hard for them to assimilate.
Yeah.
Anyway, very cool way to grow up.
Yeah, I would imagine you're getting like a pretty big dose of autonomy, like that you're capable. You can get on a horse and you can just get lost and find your way back. Aren't there's things there that are building character, right? You're not like ushered out your door into a backseat of a car and then taken to a preschool and then, you know what I'm saying?
I guess, yeah, when you think about it, I guess
You're kind of on your own, right? You're trusted to just kind of.
until you get thrown into a totally different situation,
Yeah.
which I was. But yes, in Arizona, I felt comfortable around, cowboys, horses, emptiness, alone, whatever.
Yeah.
All of that was very easy and comfortable for me.
And did you idolize mom or dad or neither or both?
Idolize.
Like, did you think your dad was the shit, that he was a smart, he had all these
You know what?
professor
No,
friends?
my father kind of revealed himself more later in life, so that I didn't realize that he was running, 500 people, and people would come in and say, Mr. Danson, what do you think? And he had really great thoughts and was very decisive, because at home, it was, I'm not sure, ask your mom, almost
Right,
kind
right.
of feeling. So
Yeah.
all the major decisions were my mom decisions.
And are you have siblings?
I have a sister, Jan, who's 4 years older than I am.
That to me fits my stereotype, because I do think children that have an older sister, men who have an older sister, are generally a little better off.
Yeah.
Just as folks.
Then maybe
in my
then
anecdotal.
three older brothers are kicking the shit out of you.
Yes, you're a coward. You can't get laid. All these terrible taunting things that seem to happen with an older male sibling.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
But then you end up being able to ride motorcycles and do all these things that I can't
Yeah. Yet. So what college do you go to? Do you go to college?
First, I went to prep school.
Okay.
I went to Kent School, Kent, Connecticut.
That's a very long way from Flagstaff.
Yeah, it was. But all my rancher friends who'd been homeschooled were being sent away.
Okay.
My sister, who was incredibly bright, she's an intellectual for real, like my parents. But I was the fantasizer, player, out the door guy. But she really was smart. So she was going to Wellesley. And my parents knew that the Flagstaff school system wasn't going to, if you're not a natural student, you were probably going to fall through the cracks.
Right.
And I certainly wasn't. All I wanted to do was play.
Yeah.
And so they were happy that I said, hey, why can't I go away? All my friends are going away to school. Why can't I? And they went, great.
And so that's interesting. I can't imagine wanting to go away at that age. What age is this? This is like high school?
13.
13.
So
just because your
7 to
appetite
8.
for a bigger world was there, or you were bored, or
I don't think, I think most of life I have kind of walked backwards going, looking at what's coming past me going, oh, how wonderful. Well, look where I am. Oh my goodness, jeepers.
like riding in the back of a pickup truck.
Yes, literally.
Yeah.
Looking at what,
Oh, the
because
Grand Canyon. We just passed it.
I think maybe when I met my wife, Mary Steenburgen, it was perhaps one of the was the turning point where I turned around in life and actually when I want to go there, I want to do this. Before that, I had some wonderful angels, to be honest. I really did. So it was a great place for me to go, but it was so whimsical.
But there is a lesson to learn in that, which is I think most people who end up as the lead of a successful TV show are very goal oriented. They have a very specific, their sights on something, right? And they're chasing that, and they might even be strangling that. And yet another way is also to be in the back of a pickup truck.
Being really happy about where you're at.
Yeah. And in fact, I'd prefer that approach.
Yeah.
Certainly at a certain point in your life, it's advantageous to now start
Yeah.
aiming the ship.
Yeah.
But it's very cool that, it doesn't require a certain kind of personality type.
We can go back and forth, but flipping ahead, I don't think I ever had a career thought or a fear around will I, won't I make it until I had made it.
Yeah.
Until about this second or third year of Cheers. Before that, I could have been acting in a class, which I did, or being paid to act, and it didn't really matter. I mean, yes, there was some lovely part about being hired, but as far as the joy of acting, it was so intense for me that an acting class, the scene that went well, was just as good as being paid to act.
That's wonderful.
And then it turned around, and then now I'm full of fears.
Yes.
Will I, won't I? Have I just retired and no one told me?
Yes. And do you think
that was a question?
No, I think you will be gainfully employed as long as you choose to be gainfully employed.
Well said.
But because let's just go there anyways. Is it because year 3 of Cheers or year 2 of Cheers, whatever it was, is it because you go, oh my God, this is amazing, I don't want to lose this?
Yeah, you don't want to lose the yes. You start how people hold you.
Yes.
Oh, you're a da-da-da-da. Oh, they look at you differently.
It's so flattering, right?
It is,
at the
yes.
beginning,
Your ego kicks in.
Yes.
And then you start getting chunks of money that you've never gotten before.
Yes. Or even thought possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were quite happy without it. I was.
Yeah.
I was quite content with whatever. And then lots of money came your way. And then it was like, oh, I don't want to lose this.
Yes.
And I wonder if I could get more.
Yeah.
And
it's weird. It's so counterintuitive. You would think that would make you feel safe, but then it kind of backfires into now you have something to lose.
Yeah.
It's kind of liberating to have nothing to lose, right?
Yes. And I mean, my philosophy about money, we've actually had this conversation once, but my philosophy of money is that you're a tube for money, and you let money come in the top and you just let it flow through you. Don't try to accumulate it. Just, let it flow through you. Because if you panic and shut off the bottom, you'll get constipated and the money will stop flowing through out of that fear. So you just let it rush through. Don't pay that much attention to it. Assume that it will be there.
Yeah.
And just focus on what it is you want to do.
I would kill to have that relationship with money. I
know.
Very envious.
Yeah.
I have got the bottom of that tube so fucking choked tight.
That none of it'll get out. I've done that periodically, and Mary will smack me on the back of the head because I am planning for penury.
Yeah.
You know,
Now you're thinking, that's me. I'm thinking of all the many ways that the financial system will collapse.
yes.
There really isn't any way to safeguard myself from this. So I bury gold in my backyard, but even that, how do I get gold into Europe? You know,
What
it gets
happens if
madness.
there's an earthquake?
Yes.
What? There's a drought.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, it's like the Charlie Brown in me that's just convinced that if there's no way if I got something that I would be able to keep it.
Right.
Yeah, it's madness. But I want to know about
Yeah,
your because your ride is so
I'm finding this fascinating. Are you?
yes. This professor has the best stories.
It's the headphones.
It really
I'm
is.
totally mesmerized.
I do encourage everyone listening to the show to please put on very high quality headphones so you can have the same elevated sense of our importance. But you go to a boarding school, and is it all male?
All male, 13 to 18, based on an English school system. An English priest. It was an Episcopal school.
Okay.
An English priest, Father Sill, came, I'm not sure when, in the early 1900s. And that was back when, especially in England, it was tough.
Yeah, boys were to be broken and
Yes,
rebuilt.
by other boys.
Yeah.
So there was a pecking order.
Ah.
It was called, unfortunately, it meant one thing years ago. It was called fagging.
Okay.
Where if you were a class above, you could make anyone do push-ups or, almost beat the crap out of them, basically, and you would be fine.
Yes.
And-
Code Redding them.
Yes.
Remember that
literally.
movie? Yeah.
Very much that.
Oh, that's crazy.
I never got smacked with a pillowcase full of potatoes, but it was right next door to that. And there were, as far as people being paid, there were teachers called masters. There was an electrician and there was a cook. And basically that was it. Everything else was done. All the manual labor was done by the kids.
the boys.
By us. It was very Spartan. Wow. Up at 6:15, chapel at 6:30.
Oh.
It was rugged.
This wouldn't have suited me.
No.
And how did you feel there?
Well, let me add one thing. I just said goodbye to my friend Raymond Coyne, my Hopi friend, right? This is a great school, by the way, and I will flip this.
Okay, good.
But nevertheless, at age 13, getting driven there by my aunt from Scarsdale, and dropped off at that night, sitting on these big communal tables with, I guess there were about 10 boys at a table sitting on benches, and there was a pecking order. The seniors or the sixth formers were at the head of the table, and then you worked your way down, and which meant steak and French fries were rumors to anyone at the other end of the table. But anyway, the first night
Can I just tell you that this sounds like Hogwarts is if it were in Nazi Germany in 38.
Yes.
Okay.
It had that, that smidge. Or if you've been watching The Crown, it's like what Charles went through. Anyway, we had corn chipped beef on toast.
Shit on a shingle.
Yes.
Yep.
Many different phrases.
Yeah.
Sadly, having just said goodbye to my friend Raymond, my Hopi friend, the nickname at Kent was Skinned Indian. And I thought,
for you or for that meal?
For that meal.
Oh my goodness!
It's corned beef, sliced thin with a cream sauce over toast.
Yeah.
So
in any other name, it sounds appetizing.
Yeah. Yes.
By any other name.
So there I was going, wow, where am I?
Yeah.
And why are people wearing Madras pants? And oh my jeepers!
And was there a contingent of like East Coast old money?
Yes, but there were also inner city kids. It was a really cool school in that if you paid on a scale, if your father was the head of General Motors, and we had in my class somebody like that, then I'm sure they paid a great deal. If you had nothing, but you were interesting to the school, you would pay nothing. So it was pretty cool. It had a cross section, more or less. Compared to today, probably not, but more or less.
And again, not to now jump ahead to your age, but does it ever astound you to think that, yes, you went to a school where you could say you were fagging people and then you're eating skinned Injun or whatever the fuck you just said?
Not Injun. That is so racist. I can't believe you said Injun and not Indian. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I was assuming it was the worst thing you could say because I've forgotten it. But Is it not occasionally startling how different these eras you've actually got to witness and how much change can occur in a relatively short amount of time?
True. And it's kind of spooky to watch me turn into my mother, who used to say, take care of the money if we're in a foreign country, because it's just, I just can't. It's just too much for me. I'm doing all of that with social media and going, no, I'm sorry, it's just too much. I'm not going to do that. Someone else can do it for me.
Yes, we have you, unfortunately, on this app called Marco Polo, Kristen and I. And it's an app where you can send videos to each other. And we, I think, exclusively do this in bed at night, right? You've never seen me with my shirt on. And
No.
And almost every video starts with a few seconds of you just reconfirming that it is recording, right? That seems to be the pattern.
Or getting the filter wrong.
Yes, you're like, and then Ted discovered the like cartoon effect filter, which you found very flattering, right? You really like how you look in it.
I like the sketch.
So that's kind of your go-to now. So we watch basically a cartoon version of you in bed at night, which is, I think, most Americans' dreams. But your ultimate feeling about this experience in school was what? Did it toughen you up? Did it give you a sense of due diligence, or did it?
Well, it gave me my only real education. It gave me a great education, and then I met what saved me. And the school, by the way, Kent's school flipped. The third year I was there, somebody came in, a new headmaster, and it just. Everything went flying out the window. All of the bad stuff, all of the bullying, all of the everything went flying out the window.
Oh, that's great.
It was still very Spartan, but you seniors or sixth formers had to work doing, sweeping hallways. If you looked cross-eyed at a younger person, or were a bully in any way, you were out. So it really made a big
Lord of the Flies.
Yes, they did. Nice.
Yeah, good.
Nice. Good. Yeah, they did. So anyway, basketball is what saved my life. I had a basketball coach, Jim Woods, who actually had he was probably only about 8 or 9 years older than us. He had graduated from college and turned right around and come back to teach at Kent. And he saved my life. Basketball was my love, my passion,
because it gave you some confidence among the other guys, or
I just loved.
You just loved
basketball.
Playing it. Were you a power forward? What position?
I was a very weak.
You were a moderate forward.
I was a moderate forward,
an average forward.
I dislocated my knee the first year of junior varsity. So from that moment on, I could only jump, even though I'm right-handed, off my right leg, which is a very weird layup or whatever. Yeah. When it became, we won our league championship at the end of our senior year. And they were giving out the awards at our banquet dinner. And I got a most valuable player.
A co-MVP.
MVP with my best friend, who was an amazing athlete. Truly amazing. Yeah. Everything I would really want to be. Could dunk. Gorgeous human being. Just, he called his body his temple, and it was, man.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing. So anyway, and then there was me. I don't know how they phrased it, but it was basically, your heart is so passionately involved in basketball that we have to. It was like a mercy. We can't give you an MVP all by yourself. We'll give you a one with somebody who's really good. But anyway, I loved it.
But you won an award for player who enjoys it the most. Oh, love of the game award.
Loved it.
That's great. That's really great.
Saved my life.
And why do you say it saved your life?
Because
were you lonely there? Sorry to interrupt you, but that sounds lonely. Was it lonely there?
Because of basketball, no. Otherwise, it would have been.
Okay, so you had this camaraderie with your teammates.
The first year, you cried yourself to sleep.
Okay, yeah, good.
Yes.
I was starting to think you were inhuman or something.
No. Okay. Everyone was sobbing. Yeah.
So but that being on a team feeling and the camaraderie, right?
And ensemble, and it's what informed the rest of my life. To this day, I much prefer being part of a group of acting than just the tall guy who's carrying everything. I'd rather be part of an ensemble because I just love group. And it came out of that basketball experience.
Right.
I went to Stanford and tried out for basketball for the freshman year. And I didn't try out. I stepped up. just on the edge of the court and looked around and went, oh,
Okay.
shoot.
Yeah, that's what it's like out here.
That's a
Did you
different
go
game.
to Stanford?
Yes.
You did?
Oh, did I just drop that? I'm sorry.
Well,
I mean, I did not. I faked my way
that's
through.
very impressive. I mean, I think you're intelligent, but that's also
No,
requires quite a bit of work.
Correct. But back in 1966, it was not
any
as
bozo?
impressive
Okay.
as it is now. It's
Okay.
not as competitive. It wasn't.
Right.
And I was always geographically interesting. A kid from Flagstaff, Arizona, riding horseback with the Hopis.
Yeah.
Kent School went, wow, that's interesting. Of course we'll take him.
Do you think they
He
had
went
you
to Kent
confused
School.
with a Hopi Indian? Do you think at any point they thought this basketball playing Hopi Indian?
Yes, I did milk that.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Well, I have one quick question before we go to college. What was going on with girls? Because you had to be girl crazy in high school. Were you?
Yeah, it made it, the school, it was impossible. There was a girls' school, because it was all boys. A sister school, it was Kent School for girls, and it was 3 miles uphill.
Okay.
And you would just be, thrown out on your ear if you
or
ever
the-
tried to get up there. So, and dances were like, too close, too close. Now, there were definitely, you would have scored through the roof because you would have jumped on some, teacher's motorcycle, stolen it, went up the hill, and impregnated everybody.
If I could only see myself through your eyes just for 2 minutes,
Oh,
I would.
please.
Do I look like the Fonz when you?
Are you all right? We're bouncing all over the place,
yeah,
but
why
you
not?
are one of my heroes.
Oh
you
my
are.
God,
No, you
thank you,
are.
thank you.
You are, and everybody I talk to about you feels the same way. So you can squirm for a second because you are astounding. Go on.
Oh yeah, that is very
Next
uncomfortable.
question, please.
Okay, so but you did like girls. It was not possible. So
Yeah,
you go
no.
to Stanford.
Yeah.
And now it's co-ed.
And Stanford was chosen because it was a nice campus and it was co-ed and it was
Yeah.
out west, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah, it's by
Palo Alto, hour
or
south of San Francisco. 66.
is the temperature?
San Francisco, 1966.
Oh yes,
Wow,
yes.
Haight-Ashbury, the whole deal.
Robert Crumb,
Right.
The Grateful Dead.
I missed it.
Okay,
I missed the entire experience.
why?
Because I am two things: so self-absorbed that it's hard for me, and I'm riding backward in the pickup.
Okay,
and
and
I
the
fell
pickup
in-
didn't go by Haight-Ashbury.
and I fell in love with acting. So that all kind of happened at the same time. But I was the guy, my friend Dwayne and I, who we were best friends and basketball players at Kent. We both went to Stanford together.
Oh, that's fun. So,
Yeah, it was nice. And then we sat around a freshman dorm and somebody had some marijuana and we were all sitting in a circle and they passed it around. And the first people who had a hit were going, oh my God, do you see that? Oh, wow, look at that. And Dwayne and I are looking at each other. Well, this is stupid. I don't see anything. And I think you're an idiot. And we got up and left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't partake
No.
yet.
Yet. Oh,
Okay.
yes. No, I had to mature.
Sure. I think, yeah, because you being a Hopi Indian yourself, I would have imagined you would have
Yeah.
been open to the peyote experience.
Yeah. It's
Because that
life-
Four Corners area, that's where they're doing most of the
I have
peyote,
a
right?
delicate, yes.
Yeah.
I have Navajo, right. I have a delicate grasp on life. It's a fragile grasp. So the idea of being stoned is fine. A little buzz from alcohol, fine. Anything more than that, and I'm afraid I wouldn't necessarily know how to come back from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
It's very
fair.
delicate.
But it is all the rage at that moment,
Yes.
especially in that area,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Ken
LSD
Kesey and all
and all
these
that.
people
Yeah.
are, yeah.
I'm sitting in a freshman dorm impromptu weekend party, cake party or something.
Yeah.
And they have a singer that they've hired to come down. And I'm sitting about as close as I am to you, to this woman singing and she's just screaming her voice out. She was good, but I thought, oh, this poor girl,
Yeah.
she's fucking up her voice.
She can have vocal nodules or
And in the middle of the story, I realized I'm blanking on her name, but the most famous.
Aretha Franklin.
Oh no, Come on.
But in
Oh,
that
shit.
world, Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin.
It
Thank
was
you. It was
Janis Joplin?
Yes.
Get the fuck out
And
of
my
here.
reaction to Janis Joplin was, oh, she's going to fuck up her voice if she's
Well-
not careful. I also drove halfway to the Monterey Pop Festival and then looked at my clock and watched and went, I don't know, and turned around. I just missed the 60s completely.
And what did you major in at Stanford?
I don't know what I want to do.
They have that there?
Yes, it's called political science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't have any fantasies of being a lawyer or a politician?
No.
Okay.
Because I didn't care that much and was always faking it in school, I tested really well because it was a game, and it didn't really matter. So I had no stress and I just, give it my best effort. And I got into an advanced placement English class when I first arrived to Stanford. And the first day in class, not only could I not understand what the professor had just said, I didn't understand what the student had asked them. I was just, so I literally stopped going to school. I got my first television, literally a black and white console because I grew up without TV. Turned it on, and it was a rerun of the Dick Van Dyke Show at 11 o'clock in the morning. And that was my day. I would get up. I had a stump, big old tree stump in the room. This is me and my friend Dwayne. He would go to class, and I would get up, put on music, and dance like a go-go boy on the stump.
Oh, wow.
And then I'd turn on Dick Van Dyke. And then I'd get on my bicycle and mosey down to the quad to see if any of my classes were still going on. And then maybe I would drop in or not. That was my life at Stanford.
Yeah,
I fell in love with acting.
You were already having the drug experience without
guess-
the drugs.
yes,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, the fact that you're waking up and
It's the
dancing
whole
for a
thing.
while, then watching a bit of TV, and then seeing what's popping at the quad. You had the experience.
That's
You
the pickup
You didn't need
version of life.
it. So were you acting at Stanford, doing plays put on by the school?
My sophomore year, halfway through, I finally got the nerve to ask a girl named Beth, who was working behind the counter at the cafeteria of the freshman dorm, out for some coffee, hoping, against all hope.
Yeah.
And we went out and had some coffee, and about 5 minutes in, she said, I have to go. I have to audition for a play. And I went, oh, can I come with you? Meaning, can I still? And she
Also weird she agreed to get coffee knowing 5 minutes later
I
she
know
had to
that
be
she was
somewhere.
bored as batshit. She was bored to death. I think we got there early.
Okay, all right.
No, she was totally bored with me. So off we went.
You were like, when do you want to meet? I just have some light dancing in the morning on this tree stump. I do need to catch Dick Van Dyke, but then pretty much the rest of the day is wide open.
By the way, that all, when you play it back, sounds way cooler
It
than
sounds
who I
awesome.
was. No,
Yeah.
But it was a nerd, not a cool guy.
Okay.
So I walked into this room, and they were auditioning for Man ist Mann, a Bertolt Brecht play. And to stay in the room, I had to audition. So I just made something up. I said, forgive me, I don't have any written material. So I did this little thing. I don't know where. This is one of those divine moments because there's no reason why I would have ever done something like that. Just made it up.
Yeah.
So I did.
Again, quickly, you're in the back of a pickup truck and you
Yes.
realize, we are in an audition now.
Yes. I guess what one does is stand here and entertain the troops. Okay.
Yeah.
And I did. Some people laughed, and I was like, that's almost as good as basketball. Not quite, but that's nice. That whatever that was nice. And I got the smallest part you could get and still be in the play. Third spear carrier from the left kind of guy. But I was hooked.
I hope they don't give
Literally.
you a co-MVP for this.
No, trust me.
Okay, good.
No, but I was hooked, and I started taking acting classes, and I literally pulled my station wagon that had a mattress in the back, which is where I was sleeping, to the back of the studio theater, and I didn't leave for the next 3 months. I just ate, drank, slept,
Really?
theater, and then people said, if you're serious, you should go back east. So I auditioned at the last second for Carnegie Mellon University, and off I went in '68.
So you also went there.
Yeah,
Carnegie
to study
Mellon.
acting because it had a full on acting conservatory kind of deal.
Right.
And because I was a transfer student, I didn't have to do any freshman English or anything like that. I just did acting.
At this age, are you aware of your own charisma? And I mean that sincerely.
No.
Like, I'm not asking you to brag for yourself, but are you aware at that moment that you have a personality that people are drawn to?
I didn't know I had that until the second year of Cheers, where I learned to keep my mouth shut when people said, "Oh, wow, you're cool," or "Oh," people would write, "Oh, he's very sexy." I knew the truth.
Right.
That I was surrounded by beautiful extras who were paid to look at me as if I were sexy. But I learned to keep my mouth shut instead of deny it. So no,
And can I
I'm
just
not
tell
that
you
guy.
how weird life is, right? And maybe
Yeah.
this will make you question some of the assumptions you made as a kid. But so you didn't feel like that guy. You didn't
No.
feel like Sam Malone.
No.
Right?
No.
But here I am a kid. I'm a kid. And my introduction to what a stud alpha male is Sam Malone.
Yeah, no.
So that becomes the definition. So there isn't a definition. You gave it to me.
That's so weird.
And someone gave it to you.
The writers gave it to me.
Right. But even as a kid, I don't know who you thought was a super gregarious stud when you were a kid. But that person played that role and that was your introduction to it. So you didn't question it. So for me, I can see where you didn't think you were Sam Malone. But for me, it's so obvious you're fucking Sam Malone. And that is what a Playboy looks like.
Yeah, weird.
Because that's the first one I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
It's
I
kind of
grew
interesting
up-
how these things aren't in any way objective. They're
No.
just cultural. And you could be a part of setting that template without having any awareness of,
Yeah.
you're just seeing the doubt, right? Well, I couldn't have been a professional baseball player who scores every night with the ladies.
No.
Yeah.
Just
But I'm told that that's what that looks like. I don't know. It just blows my mind a little bit.
I know. It is weird.
Yeah. But you were friendly
That's
and
why-
you were
that-
personable. You at least were aware of that.
Yeah, and I had, because I was such a, not loser, but so fearful or so whatever in life and unsure, and because my mother was teaching me more than my father, on the playground, I would find the biggest bully or notice the biggest bully and then go make him chuckle,
Right.
make him laugh. And
Yeah.
then I was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I can't imagine you got picked on much.
No, but for weird reasons, like at Kent, where picking on was okay. I was, at age 13, I was 6 foot and 120 pounds.
Yeah, that's
So bullies would look at me and go, he's awfully tall. Yeah, but if I hit him, he may shatter,
yeah. This will make me look weaker, not
Yeah,
stronger.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah. I've had to do that calculus a couple times myself. Andy Dick, that actor.
Yes.
He made me so mad on a movie set one time, and it just escalated until at some point he shoved glasses on my face without my permission, and it hit me in the eye. And I stood up and everything was saying, knock this person out. And then a better part of me was like, you'll look like such a fucking asshole punching Andy Dick out. And it saved him. And I bet that's how he's gotten through life.
Yes.
Anywho.
That's nice for Andy to hear right now.
Oh, he fucking deserves it. And I tell it to his face and we're
Yeah.
friends. It's fine. Where's
No.
Carnegie Mellon?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So we were sheltered.
Okay,
we were
yeah.
kept out of the hubbub.
That makes sense. That's where Andrew Carnegie
Yeah.
made his fortune.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was
But you
just
went to
pure.
New York after Carnegie Mellon.
Carnegie was supposed to prepare you for repertory companies. And that was what we did: classical training, and off we go. And we're going
Like Shakespeare? and-
everything, except I was never cast. I was the one person who fell through the crack and never got into a Shakespearean play.
Really?
Yeah. So I've always felt, as soon as somebody starts talking about Shakespeare, I duck my head and feel like a total phony.
Oh, me too.
Please don't come around to me.
Yeah. And do I remember that we connected at one point about, did you have learning disabilities? Did you have reading issues?
I only now discovered that I probably do, but not really.
Okay.
Meaning
I imagine that. I just want to be like you in so many ways.
You are.
that- yeah.
No.
that
No, wait,
I'm
you're
just
not.
assigning.
You're the true
I'm gonna get
version
to
of who I hope to be.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm going to get to the point where we are linked by a disease, which is very flattering to me.
God.
Yeah.
Good,
Oh,
good.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
going to get to the old stuff.
Absolutely. Only more embarrassing that I have it at 43. But so you do move to New York from there.
Yes.
And is New York just, what year is that?
75 scared the crap.
It's a grimy city in 75,
It's gritty.
right? This
It's
is
really-
Midnight Cowboy kind of stuff.
Panic in Needle Park.
Yeah.
Sorry, 72. Pardon me. So it was genuinely hardcore.
Yeah, walking through Times Square, it's like 60%
Yeah.
of the storefronts are peep shows and stuff,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That to me is appealing.
Oh, no, it
that's
was
the
very
title
appealing.
sequence for Saturday Night Live, right? At the beginning, where
Yes.
it's like guardian angels on the subway, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, now it's Disneyland. But
it is. So the city is scary, but it's got to be so exciting, is it?
I was terrified for about 3 months, and I was determined to stay there until I was no longer scared. And then I would leave because I knew it sucked. And I just fell head over heels in love with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to leave until many years later.
It's so unique to New York, I think, where you live on the streets, right? Like you go somewhere and then everyone's now on foot and they're going somewhere else. So now you're walking with big groups of people and, oh, I'm going to catch that subway. I'll walk you to there. It's this uniquely
Yes.
communal life, right? That
Totally.
Really, we should be living that way. That's how we were designed and evolved to live, yet
Right.
we've stopped. And then when you're doing it, it feels right on
Yeah.
like a primitive level, right?
Yes, you are so much more connected, and you are also culturally connected in a great way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are bumping into rich people and poor people in the same block. You are bumping into everybody from many different countries and
Yeah.
economic and everything. So tolerance kind of comes with that territory, which is great.
Yes.
Here you can be, you can drive 30 minutes before you find someone who doesn't look like you.
Yes, yes. And it's a very equalizing city because sure, you may descend an elevator from a penthouse, but once you get out on that
Yeah.
street,
Yeah.
everyone's in the same boat.
You're going to have to deal with
You
us,
can't
pal.
buy your way out. There's something cool about that.
Yeah. And when you're young, it doesn't matter if you have money or not.
And were you still with Beth at this point, or it didn't last that long?
Beth, I didn't see after that afternoon.
Oh,
I
you
think
did?
she was thrilled.
Oh, okay.
And
She basically, like a gal will pawn off a suitor to a friend.
yes.
She pawned you off to show business,
Yes.
basically. I don't like you, but I have a girlfriend that you might like. Her name is show business. Her name is acting. So I guess I'm stuck on this, and I'm sorry, but what's happening with women in New York? You're a young buck, and you're on your own. Are you
I'm
dating
married.
girls?
No,
You're
I'm married.
married?
Oh, I was born married. First off,
oh, boy.
going back, a woman girl would have to be stark naked, standing in front of me. I'd be fully clothed, and it would be me. Oh, you mean you want? I was just so backwards.
That's so cute.
No, I am the opposite of Sam Malone. If somebody, kissed me, I would ask them to marry me. And sophomore year, got married to Randy. And I think we would both admit, communication, if we had both been emotionally or, mature,
Yeah.
would have been, I'm scared to go to New York. Are you?
Yeah.
Let's live together and be buddies and help each other.
Support each
What
other.
a great idea.
Yeah.
And yet somehow, almost unspoken, because I do not remember asking her to marry, and I'm sure she doesn't remember me asking her to marry, but we got married.
Wow.
So, age 22.
That's awfully
Married.
young to be married, in my
especially
opinion.
from the guy who's in the pickup who,
Yes, once again.
Yeah.
Oh, pedals. I see pedals. Oh, what? Oh, and there's people in chairs. A priest. Oh, I'm being wed.
yes, yes, literally.
This feels very whimsical to go through life like this.
Yeah.
I'm sure you pay a price at some point, but it sounds
And
kind
I
of
think
neat.
we're on the same page, really. And I hope this is okay, because Randy is a wonderful actor out there in the world. So we were brother and sister, really. I think what happened.
And you've chosen a very scary trajectory. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's not like you both graduated with degrees in mechanical engineering.
Right.
There's a slot for you
Right.
at GE.
We're off into
You're-
the big world.
Yeah, so a big chunk of the pie is uncertain.
Will we make it or not?
And you can shore up this personal piece of the pie and get some stability there.
Yes,
And that's
yes.
appealing, right?
And we were great friends. And our class basically all just moved to New York, and it became our big dormitory. So we were great buddies. We all shared the same psychologist, whose famous advice was, you need to relax. You need to start farting like a jackrabbit.
Really?
That was his big advice that probably turned my life around to this day.
Oh, wow.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh, I see you put it in practice.
By the way, I didn't make that up. Isn't that great?
That is great.
Yeah.
That's just the
We all
kind of
compared
thing
notes,
that
and he
in
said
the
that.
middle of you taking yourself very seriously,
Yeah.
and I'm going to figure out this psyche of mine. And a man says, just fart more often.
Yeah.
It at least probably makes you a little less
Yeah.
important in that moment.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And how long do you and Randy stay married?
5 years.
I can't imagine you taking the bull by the horns and getting
No.
separated.
No, I'll tell you how that, yeah. And here's the story.
Yeah.
Randy is learning how to sign, and she's gotten really good, sign for the deaf, because she's in, I can't remember the name of the play at Circle and the Rep. So she's had to learn, and she teaches me every once in a while, and I've gotten kind of okay. And one evening I say, let's have a real conversation, because I'll probably follow it more. If we're not just doing see Jane run,
Yeah.
we'll have a real conversation, and I'll be able to fill in the blanks. 45 minutes later, in total silence, we decided to get separate.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that cool?
That is very...
And it was very
Unique.
sweet. It was very sweet. The question was, where do you want to be 5 years from now? What do you want to be doing? Where do you want to be? And the answer for both of us was someplace else, knowing you're okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds at least very amicable.
Oh, it was. We were.
Because you're a bona fide codependent like
Oh.
myself, right?
Oh.
It would kill
Yeah.
you to have hurt her.
Yes.
If she had been head over heels in love with you and you felt that way, that would have been like a cancer for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel it feels very lucky that she felt that way as well.
Yes.
Because you probably also would have ended up in something for 15 years, maybe. If
That
you-
was the next.
okay. That's the next stop on the TED tour.
Wow, you got that number right too.
Oh, is it really? Okay. Yeah. Side note, why do you think you were a natural codependent? Was there a relationship with your mom or your dad? Was your
Well,
mother
that-
prone to
That was very
depression or
confusing.
anything?
And but my upbringing was complicated,
Mm-hmm.
and there was some hidden currents and stuff, and so it all felt. I think that's why I think part of me went, "Oh, this is way too complicated. I'm going to go off in the corner and play with my
Right.
trucks or my horses and have,
Yeah.
I'm going to daydream." But everybody has a history of family that is just wacko.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all trying to deal with our misconceptions or preconceptions or
Yeah.
the truth of wherever we came from. And then you do, and you realize, oh, your mom and dad were these two kids
Oh my
who
God!
got together
yes.
and did the best they could possibly do. But here's something that I can talk about. I was unconditionally loved, man.
Uh-huh.
And that's huge.
Yeah.
I never was in doubt ever that they loved me.
Me either.
And that's huge, because
Yes.
not everyone grows up with that.
Yeah,
I
but
took
this
your
is why I
question
think
and went all
no.
over
I
the
like
place.
it
I don't
because I
even
do.
remember.
By the way, it's why I like to talk about it, because there is, I think, as you're growing up in, I'll just use my family. Lots of divorces and this and that. You do feel like you're the anomaly, you're the weirdo,
Yeah.
you're the outsider. You have these feelings that are unique to you, and then you kind of proceed through life thinking that. And then I think there's a ton of comfort in realizing, no, that's the norm. That's baseline.
Yes.
I think. So
Yes.
yeah, it's not. None of this is like a pity party or anything. It's just to go, oh yeah. P.S. Being a human's fucking hard, messy business. And then, as you
Yeah.
say, you get to a point where you start recognizing how young your parents were, and
Yeah.
all this forgiveness just kind of comes
Yeah.
out, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I'm doing this. We had Lincoln at 38. And I'm barely managing it. And I have money. I have all these.
Yeah.
My mom didn't have a fucking thing, and she was 18
Yeah.
when she had my brother.
Yeah.
So whatever.
No, it's a miracle.
It's a
they
miracle.
did it.
And a perfect job cannot be done. But regardless, you do leave with some of
Yeah.
these things, and then you confront them throughout your life.
And I'm not sure a perfect job should have been done. Maybe. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't
yes. You're probably not. We're not. Neither of us are sitting here if we're born in a Rockwell painting.
know. Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert if you dare.
So you get divorced, and then do you move to LA?
No, get married again. I had 9 glorious months as a bachelor.
Okay.
And that was the only bachelorhood I had
Ever.
in my entire life. 9 months. And then met and married someone else who's very much alive and hopefully well. And so I hesitate
Sure.
to caricaturize. But we had
But
we had
your
2
side of
children.
the street, you had 2 children. And at what age did you have these children?
32. Our first was born, and then our second child, I guess I was 36.
Okay. And can you give me the Reader's Digest speech? How old were you when you became Sam Malone?
32. So maybe I was 34 when Kate was born. I was 34 when Kate was born.
Okay. So you had some financial
32 when
security.
I did, Cheers. Yeah.
And did you have any success prior to
No,
Cheers?
other way around. Forgive me.
Okay.
Kate was born when I was 32 and Cheers when I was 34.
So you did have her in some economic insecurity.
Yeah. I had done a couple of films, and I had done Body Heat and The Onion Field, and
I
so
love Body Heat.
I was off and running with 8 months of unemployment and then another job, and then I started doing guest stars on television and anything.
So you were
Just
making
make
a
money.
living.
Yes,
Okay. And then
but just very minimal, but yes,
yes, and then you get Cheers.
correct.
And is there any inclination at that moment I'm getting onto something special, or it's just like everything else, right? It's just a job, and God knows what'll happen. And
there was something strange because usually there'd be self-doubt when you audition and you go, well, that went well, but then you don't hear anything the next day. Or, I had auditioned for Jimmy Burrows, who was the co-creator with Les and Glenn Charles of Cheers. But he was the director and they were the writers. And they had teamed up shortly before Cheers got off the ground. But I had auditioned a year or 2 before for Jimmy Burrows for Best of the West. It was a sitcom, but it took place in the West. But he remembered me from the audition. I didn't get it. And I was called in by Jim Brooks to go do a quick last-second replacement of a character on Taxi.
oh wow,
So I was on the Paramount lot doing Taxi, and it was a great part for me. It was fun, and Jimmy Burrows and Les and Glenn were just around the down the building, down the hallway, starting to think about casting Cheers. And so they had me come over while I was working, which is a great way to audition.
because you're in makeup.
You're in makeup. You
Yeah,
look
you
great.
you look
feel
great.
great.
Yeah,
And you have a
costume.
job, so you're
Yeah.
not desperate.
Yes.
So it felt good. So I read and I did, I think, a couple times that week while I was working. And then they said, don't take any other jobs without letting us know. And I went, oh, does that mean that I have the part?
Yeah.
And they're just don't take any jobs.
we're not willing to go that far, but we're
Right.
willing to go halfway.
So I go out the office door on one side, the opposite door that I came in, and down the hallway and down the stairs are about 50 actors lining up to come see them.
Oh my goodness.
So it was one of those times where I didn't doubt, and it was a long audition process. Then we were brought in to read and paired up. There were
Yeah, chemistry
6 people.
tested.
Yeah, there were 3 Sam and Dianes
Oh wow.
that they kept, playing around with in their heads, and you'd read and da-da-da-da. And then on the day, they built a little temporary bar set at Paramount, and they had 60 people in the audience. I'm probably exaggerating. Maybe it's like 30 or 40 people.
Yeah.
All the studio, all the network, all the writers, da-da-da-da. And we auditioned. We had an audition off.
Wow. And are you start the first audition with a relative amount of confidence because of the final touches
Yeah.
you had gone through.
Yeah.
But as it's getting realer and realer and it's being whittled down, is any fear creeping in at this
No,
point?
and that's
No,
the
wow.
one thing that I'll have to say was different for me, because I am a fear-based fellow.
That makes me think you were just kind of born to play that role.
Yeah. It was just like, don't do that. Just
Do your thing.
It'll be all right. Just
Yeah.
do it. And
Even though you didn't see yourself as a Sam Malone
No, and I didn't get Sam Malone for like 2 years. It took me 2 years of playing Sam Malone before I finally got it. But I also want to tip my hat to Shelley Long, because I think I got cast as Sam Malone because I was teamed up with the pairing with Shelley Long, and Shelley was, just out of the box, astounding.
Well, you guys had a geometry or a symmetry that really can't be forced or anything. It's total lottery, right?
Yeah.
And it's just some people have that and they don't. And you can
Yeah.
put the two
No,
best
it's kind of
actors in the
perfect.
world in one fucking movie and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked. It totally worked.
And then the pilot is now, for people who aren't TV nerds, the pilot is regarded in comedy as the best pilot ever made. The most flawlessly.
The writing was perfect.
The writing, also the way it was shot, the way the characters
Everything about it,
introduced.
yeah.
It is structurally as good as you can
Yes.
launch a show.
Yeah.
Because generally pilots are very hard. Because
they're the
you're
worst.
introducing strangers to, all these strangers. You're trying to tell people what kind of person they are.
Yeah.
But just the way that first thing, people are just entering that bar, right? I've studied it many times. They're just arriving at the bar, and you're in such with such economy. You're finding out exactly who everyone is.
Who everybody is.
It's like it's never been
great.
done in so skillfully ever. Yeah.
And you dump off, the opposite of Pygmalion, you dump off somebody who should never be in a bar, Diane Chambers. And she ends up asking for a job, and you did that, and you believe it, and you believe that scenario.
Yes.
That these bunch of losers with this kind of Lothario who she would despise, as the bartender, and he ends up offering her a job, and she says yes at the end of 20.
And it's almost real time, right? I mean, it's all happening real time. Yeah, it's really incredible.
They're really good.
And then, so this is what would fascinate me most, because I can only imagine being in your shoes. You're 32 and almost like a light switch, right? You are now a nationally known human being and you're being celebrated. And that would be so overwhelming to me. I had it on such an infinitely tinier scale, and it was more than I could manage.
Yeah.
What was your experience with that? And do you feel fraudulent? Do you feel like, oh, I don't deserve this? Or like, what kind of ego battles are happening? What are the three sides of your brain
Well,
saying?
first off, I was surrounded by this wonderful group of actors. So surrounded meaning
You're
we were
sharing
buddies.
that.
We were sharing that experience.
Yeah.
And then we had Les and Glenn Charles and Jimmy Burrows, who were so good at their work. I mean, we threw away pages of jokes that you could have written a whole other series.
Yeah.
They would never settle. So the work ethic, or the bar that was set by the writers and Jimmy, who was best friends with Brandon Tartikoff and Grant Tinker, so the setup was such and we were dead last in the ratings, by the way.
Oh, you were?
Oh,
This is like
we
the
were
Seinfeld
once
story?
70th out of 70 shows. 1 week, we were dead last.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that part
Now,
of it.
we were told, because actors are the kids who always have to be protected, and
Yeah.
they're asked to leave when the adults want to gather.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we are protected. We were just told, and we were told by the press, you're doing great. It's a great show. Relax. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's nice.
Because our
But they're
ratings
telling
truly
Jimmy, you
suck.
better figure this
Well,
fucking
later
out.
on, we all didn't realize this, but later on, NBC confessed, we would have replaced it in a shot. We didn't have anything to replace it with.
Really?
Yeah. So we were lucky.
Okay.
And then the press found us. And once the press find you and celebrate you, then it's harder for a network to get rid of you.
Yeah, because they need that as well.
Yes.
They need ratings, and they also need some kind of acclaim.
But let me say, here's an example. I saw the pilot. So we're shooting, you shoot in a vacuum that first year. I don't know how far we did before we were on the air and had any feedback. It was like way into the season.
Yeah.
So we saw the pilot before we were on the air. And I called Jimmy over and burst into tears and said, I'm awful. I'm horrible.
Oh, you did?
Well, I'm just so, and he looked at me and listened for 2 seconds. Then he laughed really loud and walked off.
Oh.
Couldn't be bothered to hold my hand. But I just was, my neuroses is, it happened the first time I saw myself on screen, which was the Onion Field. I slunk out of the theater because what I saw up there was not
Didn't
Cary
match.
Grant, was not James, Stewart, was not whoever I had hoped I would, David Niven. I read his books, and it got me to Hollywood. I wasn't that. I was just Toad like Ted. I was just...
It was the same
all
reflection you'd
warts
been
and-
seeing in a
yes,
mirror for 30
yes.
years, which wasn't that overwhelming.
And to this day, when people say you're wonderful, I let it in and I love it. But then I will go watch it and it'll be such a heartbreak
Yeah.
that I'm still that.
Now, I can relate to that a ton on just the physicalness. I can't
Yes.
stand how I look. Every time I'm like, how did they let this guy get
Right.
on the screen?
Right.
But I don't feel that way generally about my performance. Did you feel also bad about your performance or just the...
In the beginning, yes, because when you watch a performance of somebody else, and especially comedy, what makes you laugh is when you're surprised and delighted. I did not see that coming.
Sure.
Oh, look how they did that. I would have gone, oh my gosh, that is so refreshing.
Yeah.
Well, you watch yourself, it's like, saw that coming, saw that coming, saw that coming.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's
you were also surrounded, I can imagine, where it's a little bit impacted by, you're surrounded by some of the greatest people to ever be on TV. So Norm's doing his thing.
Yes.
And
I've watched him all day long and he's brilliant.
yes. And he is certainly an easier laugh than you. Like it's just, he's playing this incredible character and it's just an endless well of funny.
And I can see myself sweat and die and feel like an asshole every time Sam would come on to a girl. I'd go, bullshit. You're dying inside. You're an idiot. You're a nerd.
Yeah.
Thank God
she'll
she's
be naked.
behaving. Yeah.
And you won't realize that was your signal, your cue to also get naked. So how many years before it becomes the show?
2.
I think it was. So 2.
For me.
Okay.
No. Sorry. From my experience of the show,
You got
one thing
comfortable.
because literally I wasn't sure for a while whether Sam was dumb or just playing dumb.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't sure where he was. I didn't get the arrogance.
Uh-huh.
A relief pitcher only comes in when things suck and he saves the day. That takes a certain amount of arrogance and confidence,
Yeah.
And I had none of that, as you've just heard.
Uh-huh.
But after 2 years of people voting in the public and judging you, and
You have to
saying you're
let it
good
in
or you suck,
eventually.
you finally go, oh, well, what the fuck? I might as well have fun because you're not going to please everybody. Half of them are going to hate you. Half of them are going to love you. You have no control over that. So kiss my ass. I'm going to have fun and do this for myself.
Yes.
And that kind of allowed me to get some of that
Playful arrogance. Uh-huh. And now at some point, do you start becoming Sam Malone in real life a little bit?
Well, none of us realize that we're typecast. We always think we're brilliant character actors.
Yeah.
But I would.
No, but I more mean like Sam was the cock of the walk.
Yeah. No, we were very rock and roll. We would, after the show, we would start drinking and start smoking.
Yeah.
And, crawl home at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it was all very rock and roll.
Yeah.
We were big deals
Because I don't
in
think
our little world, at least.
Yeah, and I don't think people necessarily they're not familiar with the high of, I'm sure, doing that live show.
Oh, huge.
And then you are 30,000 feet in the air, and it's a rough come down on the ride back to home where you're just...
So you don't.
You're
Let's stretch
Tad.
it out. Let's stretch
Yes,
it out.
let's
Let's
not let
drink.
this-
Let's carry on and be silly.
You want to live in that as long as humanly possible. It's
absolutely.
irresistible, right?
Absolutely.
I'm sure you've attended like an SNL after party, Saturday Night Live after party.
except the only one I went to was the one I hosted, and I was such a shattered human being.
Okay, so you couldn't properly enjoy it. But they go out and they party till 5 a.m.
Yeah.
and it's incredible because the energy dump that got
'Cause
them
you
to that
survived.
night, yes, and then yet they have that much in reserve just because the desire to propel, the intoxicating feeling.
But I also did have, wife and a kid, and so that.
And are you
that
feeling
was balancing?
Yeah, and that's hard, I would imagine too, because you feel guilty, right? There's you're in this bubble, in this little microcosm on this sound stage, and then and you have you have powers there. You
Sure,
and then part of you does not want to go home, and then you must feel terrible about that, and then you're at home, and it's just all a little confusing, isn't it?
So let me just put a little context on that. Even though you were rock and roll and all of that, you were Jimmy, Les, and Glenn.
They were the gods.
They were the gods.
Yeah.
So our entire job was to make them happy and to make them laugh. And, literally the few times we did, 260 or 70 or something episodes of Cheers, Jimmy did all of them except, I'm guessing, 15. And the days he was not there, I didn't even know how to perform Sam, because all I did was perform for Jimmy Burrows. Sam.
Right.
So you may have thought we might have been the aging adolescent, rock and roll-y kind of feeling, the energy from performing, but we were still working for gods who we wanted their approval.
Yes.
So we weren't stupid. The one time we went off and did something stupid, after 5 years of being on the air, all the guys played hooky and called in, quite obviously playing hooky, saying, I'm sick. Hold on a second. Here's John. Hey, I'm sick too. Hold on a second. And we went off on a boat for the day because we got into so much trouble. They were so legitimately angry, like parents.
Sure.
So anyway, there was that. But, it's one of those sneaky things. I think, without going into a huge amount of detail, you become an elitist and you become full of all of the pitfalls that you are so enlightened you're not going to fall into in this business. I have fallen into face first.
Sure.
I come across humble because I know my ego is so fucking huge that I better come across humble, and I better try to be believable.
You can't
in
turn
my
your back
humility.
on it.
No.
Yeah. Well, there's the great Abraham Lincoln quote is like, if you want to really test a man's character, give him power.
Yeah.
You can't know a man's character until you've given him enough rope
Yeah.
to hang himself in a weird way.
So let me leave it at this. I compartmentalized a lot in life, and it was not a good thing for me.
Yeah.
And it took me a while, many years and a marriage, to stop compartmentalizing, and stopping a liar, and started being real with myself.
Well, what's great about you is that for many people, having the outward success and accolades is enough to just keep the boat floating down the river. But you desired more. You actually wanted to like yourself when you were back at your house, right?
Yeah. But I was a mess. I had to unravel a lot.
Do you at all forgive yourself or give yourself a break, recognizing how bizarrely unique the experience was, and that there's absolutely no training for that? Like, are you able to at least forgive yourself that it is such an unnatural experience to have, that to expect yourself to have performed, admirably the whole time that's a little harsh on yourself, don't you think?
Yeah, I have no qualms at all with how we as actors, or I as an actor, behaved around Cheers. We were stupid. We were adolescent. We made mistakes. We were assholes. We were and we were great.
Yes.
We were.
And way beyond all those things, there was just a gigantic beating heart as well.
Yes. No, these were wonderful people.
Yeah.
Who, when I see them after not seeing them for 10 years, 5 years, whatever, I truly experience unconditional love in my body for everybody who I worked with on Cheers.
Yeah.
It's just like, I cannot wait to hug them and see them and, because there was that huge heart and we were involved in something so wonderful. So I don't have any problem with how we behaved as asshole celebrities. I get it.
Yeah.
But underneath all of that was Ted's journey.
Yes.
Which was pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
And took me a while to get through.
And you did it dead publicly.
Yeah.
Which is its own. Like, I don't even think, because I have the rose-colored glasses about you that an Elvis fan does. Those Elvis fans that saw him lying down on the stage, 130 pounds overweight, clearly dying of an opioid addiction, they still saw a 27-year-old Elvis Presley.
Sadly, his
shaking
voice
hips.
sounded like a 27-year-old Elvis, too. He
somehow
could still perform.
Yes. But because I think I just have this enormous sense of admiration for you, it wasn't until we were talking one time that you basically reminded me of all that stuff you had gone through. Because to me, that just blew right by. I vaguely remembered it, but I didn't remember it. And it wasn't until I was talking to you, I was like, oh, no, you really experienced all that in so publicly.
Yeah.
Were there moments where you thought, well, that's a wrap, man. I fucking burnt this house down. Someone gave me this house.
No, once again, it wasn't so much the pickup this time, driving backwards, looking around.
Right,
it wasn't that kind of moment, but it was all of the public stuff, all of the Cheers ending and starting anew, whatever, all of the above, all of the bad behavior on my part, all of the press that I got for it.
Yeah.
Was minute compared to what I finally, with huge amount of relief, was dealing with honestly in professional situations with mentors and people who really have guided me through, that moment, whether it's 12-step, whether it's like whatever it is for you, where you
Therapy
go, that's it. I am now going to really look at myself and be as honest as I possibly can. And it'll be a journey forever. That was going on for me. So that relief, it's not like joy because it's real uncomfortable, but that relief that, I opened that door.
Yeah.
And now I'm not going to be that person anymore, even though it may be a hell of a rocky road. I'm on this journey. That relief was so great that all the bad stuff that came out was almost like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I completely relate in the sense, and you hear this all the time in AA meetings, which is like, I'm so grateful I'm an alcoholic because weirdly, I am allergic to change. And I will not change unless my fucking head's on fire.
Yeah.
It has to be life or death. And I am weirdly crazy grateful that it became life or death, so that I had a willingness to change and I could actually, as you say, find mentors, take instruction.
And it's obviously, without getting whatever, it is a spiritual path you've just opened the door to.
Yeah.
Or else you haven't opened the door.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what an amazing gift. My favorite people are sober people. And they're assholes who are sober and they're all about it.
Sure.
And we're all full of shit and all of that. But anyone who can take a look at and with some degree of responsibility and some degree of amusement and acceptance of who they are is so much more fun to be around.
That's been my experience for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you weirdly have, in my opinion, I have that sense of kindred spirit that I have with other alcoholics who've gotten sober.
Right.
I look at you and I go, oh yeah, this dude was in the trenches and he came out and he came out better. And that's, it's just real. I love it. It's, there's nothing more encouraging than people's capacity to change when it happens. You know, it's really,
and that's why I think I'm so silly. Or want to look for the laugh in life, because if we're not going to talk like you and I are talking right now, then everything else is really, you want to talk career? Okay. But it'll be, I'm going to look for the fun and I can't take myself too seriously. Yeah. Not that I don't, but I mean, this conversation to me is a conversation worth having with anybody, anytime.
I agree. Cause let me tell you, I can't learn a thing from you, Ted. when you explain how you got Cheers. There's nothing for me to
Right.
learn from that.
Right.
I don't know how to get in that
Right.
specific room and feel confident on that given day.
Right.
But through your failures, I can learn a ton from
Yeah.
you. I can go, and I have thought of you. I have thought of like, my God, if Ted could have navigated all that stuff and be the person he is today, that's very encouraging. I think it's very encouraging. I talk ad nauseum about this book, but I'm reading the Ulysses S. Grant biography right now. Never has there, well, to my knowledge, has there been a man who had more standing on the top of Everest than dead in the desert, than back on the top of it. I mean, the nation loved him. He was our savior. Oh, he was a fucking drunk. He'll never win this war. He he invaded Vicksburg and won. He's our hero. And it just never ended. He economically destitute. He was so bad with money, all these things. But this motherfucker kept walking forward. And it is so incredible. I idolize that way more than I do someone who just always went well for. I can't really relate to it. Now, so since Cheers, you've had still a ton of successes. You had Becker, right? That ran for a very long time.
6
which
years.
is a huge success. And then you were on a show where you told us what breakthrough just happened scientifically. NCIS, is that where you were on?
Oh, CSI. CSI.
Yeah. So I forget how you describe it, but you have funny things to say about that. But you'd get to tell us, right? Like what dynamic evidence just was revealed.
Oh man, that was the hardest job I've ever had. And let me jump in because it's easy to make fun of procedurals.
Yeah.
Because they are so literal and they're very close to, some of them, next door to soap operas. I had the most amazing time. The writers, the actors, going to work, the technicians, I don't mean the crew, but the
technical
CSIs,
advisors and stuff.
the technical advisors.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yes.
And it was the hardest kind of acting. It is like a soap opera. You are constantly,
delivering
hey, Dax,
exposition.
do you remember
right?
just a minute ago how we were talking about that hard part of me in Cheers? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Everything's a
you laughed.
recap, right?
Yes.
Everything's a recap.
Literally.
And you're delivering so much exposition at all times.
Yes.
It really is a test.
And you're saying things like vaginal tears, which you should never, ever have to say.
No.
Ever.
You don't ever want to have to discuss that.
Blood splatter. No.
Yes. And much of what you're saying is just gibberish, right? You don't know a thing. You don't know any of the words you're saying.
Well, that was kind of the cool part, that at first it was gibberish. Then you realize, well, I'm going to look like the worst of the worst if I don't try to make some sense of it. So I took this kind of perverse pride into going, I am going to really know what it is I'm saying. So I would, like 2 or 3 times a year, I would have a high school style anxiety attack meltdown because my brain would just rebel and say, no, I'm not going to learn this. I'm not going to say this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I got to tell this because it's such a fun tidbit. So you were on Damages, and Kristen and I were so obsessed with Damages. And so the very first time we met you was at dinner, or she had already met you, but the first time I met you, we were at dinner in the Crow's Nest. I'm eating crab legs, and we're telling you how much we love Damages. And then it occurs to me, I go, oh my God, Ted, do you know the name we're staying in this hotel under? Holly and Arthur Frobisher. And I don't think you believed us. I think you thought we were fucking with you. But sincerely, we were staying in that hotel under your character name from Damages. That's how much we loved you and that show. Yeah. So we have been Holly and Arthur Frobisher for a long time when we met you.
You're going to have to find a new one because that's blown.
Yeah, now that's gone. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because I would be a fucking pig in shit if they asked me to be on one of those shows and to make a good paycheck. So I am not shitting on this, but I'm wondering, did your ego get challenged at all? Did you think like, oh man, when I bump into people now, my peers, they're going to know I'm talking about, blood spatter analysis. Yeah. Did that fuck with you at all?
You know what's in, CSI was the most watched show from like 5 or 6 years towards the end of its run in the world.
Yeah,
literally.
I totally believe it.
I was like,
it's a juggernaut.
It changed my life overseas, at least.
Uh-huh.
Here, in this industry, it was like being, in the witness protection for actors. Oh, what are you doing? Did you retire?
Yeah. How's retirement, Ted? So, did that screw with you at all, or had you passed that
No,
point?
I was incredibly grateful.
Okay.
They were paying me very well.
Yeah.
And I truly love the
And you
people
like
I was with.
houses.
And I love houses.
Yeah, and Mary loves houses, so something's got to give.
But I am a humble man. Can we get back to
how humble you are. I've had the pleasure of being at one of your houses, and just your wife. I think it's your wife.
it
Mary
is my
has
wife.
such an incredible aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's rare that I will go into a house and actually be able to understand what it is people are obsessed with, right? Like often we'll go to houses and Kristen's blown away with it, and I'm like, I don't know. It felt like a showroom. Like I felt like we were at a Crate and Barrel or something. It just doesn't resonate with me, but. I don't know whether it's your eyes or Mary's.
No,
I think it's Mary's.
It's
She
Mary.
has an ability to make an environment feel so wonderful to just be
and
in.
comfortable? Yeah, I agree.
Don't you feel
Yeah.
lucky that you
Yeah.
are with someone who builds
Yes.
that world around
Yes.
you?
Yes, I am. One of many reasons, but yes,
Yeah.
it actually truly makes a huge difference to me to be able to walk into a room and just feel bathed and delighted.
Yeah, like you can breathe
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
conducive. Like, because when we went to your house, we just sat in your kitchen and shot the shit, and that could have never ended for me. That
Yeah.
could have gone on for
Yeah.
1,000 hours.
Yeah.
And that environment was part of that. And I want to say too that what's really fun about you
Let
and
me
Mary.
just say something for one second.
No, this
If
is my
I had
show.
your-
I will say whatever. Go ahead.
If I had your, no, you were told not to interrupt. But so
yes.
I can interrupt. If I had your skills, your verbal skills, your whatever makes it possible for you to be really good in this situation, the tables would be reversed. I geeked out on you. You're one of the most amazing people I've ever met. I love how you do man. I love how you do father. I love how you do husband.
Thank
You're an
you.
amazing guy.
Thank you.
And you're sitting here doing me, but I wish I had the skills to do you because you're.
Well, I do want to
amazing.
point out this really funny dynamic I've observed. I don't know if you and Mary ever talk about Chris and I when we leave, but we do like a big debriefing after we
so do
leave
we.
you guys, right? And what from our analysis, we think you guys are in the same relationship, but I'm Mary and you are Kristen. Has that occurred
yes.
to you guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Because if you watch when the four of us sit at a table, like I love your wife. I think she's outrageously beautiful. And she's also very cool. And she's from the South and she's a musician. There's a million things. And I will make a concerted effort to connect with her. And then yet all of a sudden my just focus lands on you, and you and I are very symbiotic, as Kristen and Mary are super symbiotic.
Yeah.
So those two will lock into each other.
Yeah.
And you and I will, because I think we mirror each other's spouses.
Yeah, and you know what? I did not. My father. I slept in the women's tent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my father was loved me, adored me, but it was like, okay, now you go off with your mother, and
Right.
sleep in the women's tent. So my male models, I've had to discover in life, healthy male models, and I know there's a joke here, but I don't want to go for it. You are one of those models for me. So I do want to talk to you. I do want to soak up what you're thinking. And that's why I think we hit it off, because I really enjoy how you do your life.
And again,
as a man.
Sam Malone to me, I didn't have a father in my house. That man was like, ooh, yes, I'd like to be that person when I grow up. So
I'm picking the mature, wise part of you to celebrate. And you're telling me that my
no, because as I've evolved,
shallow,
as I like to think evolved, I now way more want to be Ted Danson than I want to be Sam Malone.
Say my name again.
I can't, fuck that. I'm gonna start calling you Ted Dan. I want to be Ted Dan,
Call me by my name.
the real man. Who is crazy generous, and you're such a good husband. What I see, who knows? You might be very violent when we
I don't know
leave
if
there.
I'm a wonderful husband for Mary Steenburgen. That's
true.
a
great way to phrase it. As I am probably only a great husband for Kristen Bell. But so
who we haven't talked about.
that's what I would. This is our last stop. Well, no, there's another stop, which is psoriatic arthritis. I'm saving the sexy topic for last, so in case anyone's like slowly undressing during this, we'll bang them right when everything's derobed. So yes, so you and Kristen, you work together on this whales movie up in Alaska, and that is so fun for her. I think it's fun for you. You fall in love with her, and then you guys get the good fortune of being on The Good Place together.
Yeah, didn't we? We also got together.
Prior
you
to
came
that.
up to our home in Ohio.
In a motorhome towing a trailer, which blew your mind.
We couldn't talk you into coming into this house that you said you loved.
I paid
that Mary
$1,000
designed.
for that RV rental. There's no way I was. You're right. The house was overwhelmingly wonderful, warm, and welcoming, and then we chose to go out into a fucking 38-foot tin can out of pride. But
both of you landed that weekend. It was like I really got both of you, a sense of both of you. I kind of got a sense of Kristen up in Alaska, but we never really worked together, and there was a horde of actors, which was great.
An embarrassment of riches.
An embarrassment of riches. But that weekend that we all spent together, I really kind of got your wife. But then I think that was maybe one other time we bumped into each other, stuff like that. But then when I got to work with her every day, it was like, she's many things. So when I start trying to talk about Kristen Bell, it's like I minimize who she is because I've just started to talk about one aspect of her because she's so many different things. But she is my perfect castmate, my leader, she's the captain of the ship. But it's like she rushes in the morning, kind of mumbles hello because she's not crazy about morning now.
No. It's not her favorite time of day.
We walk on the set, and I'm on the set with my best friend who, because I guess we share, both of us have been in the business, me way longer, but her a big enough chunk that we are the older people. We share a body of knowledge about our craft and our business.
And it's commensurate in that it's basically half of your lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Proportionally, it's similar.
And she is like this kindred spirit. We have the same, I flatter myself by saying we have the same sense of humor, but it is literally effortless. And I feel beloved. She takes care of me, but without doing it in a condescending way. She knows if I'm having a little trouble, and she just, with that, not literally, but she can grab my elbow and
very nurturing.
Point me in the right direction without making a deal about it. She is just my ideal castmate. And then they say, wrap, we're over, cut, end of the day. I can't even, if I've just hugged her or in a scene and they say cut, I will turn around and I don't know where she's gone. She's out of there so fast.
She's hosting an award show by the time you're getting in your car.
Right. Or being with you or being with her kids or doing this mogul thing that she does.
Yeah.
But the time we spend together is some of my favorite two actors hanging out in front of a camera time.
Yes.
And she is so bright. She looks at a page of dialogue that
so annoying.
The older I get, I need to really work on it. I show up in the cool of the evening, but I need, you know that phrase? I just love it. Sorry.
No. Cool of the evening.
The whole phrase is a Pearl Bailey quote where she was getting her lines wrong on the road before they opened in Hello Dolly in New York. And the producers were crazy because she kept saying different lines, different nights. And they came in and said, Pearl, we open in New York on Broadway in a week. And she said, honey, in the cool of the evening when the fucking begins, I'll be there.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Anyway.
Also, you must appreciate that I have worn her down too over the last 11 years. So
That's
her
true.
filters, like, right, you can get away with murder probably
That's
as
true.
well around her. Which
She's
is
just
nice.
probably grateful that I am a moment of not you.
Absolutely. And also let's add to this. It's so annoying that she is this person you just described without the fucking crash and burn that you and I had to go through.
Yes.
What is that? It's just
I don't know.
biochemically this bitch. She just showed up perfect. Who was she?
I don't know.
It's
'Cause
incredible.
She's also self-deprecating about it.
Yes.
Or not even.
She doesn't have a crazy ego.
No.
She doesn't get jealous of people. She's not like
No.
she's not tallying up who's doing what and I'm doing this. And
No, because
she roots for all of her friends.
Mainly because she is multitasking beyond belief successfully. So, stopping to do something stupid, egotistical, is a waste of energy.
Yeah, there's not a lot of free time for her to get into
so it's like
our
stupid.
weird hamster wheel of a headspace. Okay. Everybody, I assume now your pants are on the floor, your shirt's draped across the armchair, and let me just tell you this sexy, sexy thing that Ted and I share, which is psoriatic arthritis. Now, what a sexy disease this is that you and I have. It's an autoimmune disease.
Which sounds better than anything with the word psoriasis involved.
I know, yes.
That's the heartbreak of. That's the guy with shame-faced, lowered head in the commercials.
It's not just bad enough that you have arthritis, but then you also have to join this word, which is basically psoriasis. So now you're also thinking of very red, flaky skin, which I actually don't suffer from, but that's part of it. It's almost as if we said, we have diarrhea arthritis. We don't actually have any diarrhea associated with the condition, but we just suffice to say that they needed to put that word on it. We have impotent diarrhea arthritis.
Exactly.
It's such a bummer, and it's an autoimmune thing, right? And how long have you known you've had it?
I had just the old heartbreak for a long time that it can lead into psoriatic arthritis.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
did.
Congratulations.
Probably, thank you. I graduated. No. No.
Always an overachiever.
You thought I had psoriasis. I have an autoimmune disease.
Yes.
Which is way more important. Probably 15 years ago.
Okay.
Which is no fun because it does mess up your joints.
It does, but then maybe it ultimately we'll go, oh, this thing saved our life. Do you think, because that crosses my mind, because we generally, you and I are on a similar diet.
Yeah.
And you're avoiding gluten.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're avoiding, what else are you?
I've actually stopped. Hard cut to the next time you see me. I'll
You're
be wolfing
fucking
down a
pounding it.
hamburger
Yeah, exactly.
in a huge bun.
This is why I'm hesitant to say that, like I claim progress, not perfection.
Yes,
I do
thank
as
you.
good as a human can, or
Yes,
as this
but
human can do.
By and large, I don't eat wheats,
You don't eat
grasses
wheats?
of any kind.
Okay. Any meats you avoid?
I should. I go. Here's how I should be eating. I should be eating good fish. Healthy good fish.
That's
all
the fillet of
vegeta-
fish, the McFish.
Yes,
all
anything
the mix.
fried.
Yeah. Great.
And crap load of vegetables. And
Eggs?
Eggs work for me.
Oh, they do. Okay, great.
Yeah, I think here's what I've gone. I'm in Hollywood, so we do things like
if you are
fads.
masturbating, pace yourself because Ted is about to tell us how he reacts to eggs.
By the way, you've hit the right humor vein because there is nothing less sexy than turning to your wife and saying, "My psoriasis is bothering me."
Yes. Oh, fuck on my thumb.
it's
I
the
shouldn't
worst.
eat that wheat bun. My thumb is hurting.
My Brazilian trainer finally said, Ted, women don't want to hear about your aches and pain. I don't want to hear them, but certainly your wife does.
You need a real man occasionally to come in and smack the shit out of you and go like,
exactly.
listen, I know you're evolved, but
You want an autoimmune disease here?
Yeah.
Boom.
Here's your fucking autoimmune disease. So mine is I'm supposed to not have no gluten, no dairy, no nightshades.
Yeah.
The meat I'm supposed to eat is only lamb, turkey, and bison.
No fish.
But my gal didn't like fish. She thinks
Okay.
it's mostly
But
mercury
you know what?
laden. But
That's-
what this is at least similar. So when you and I bump into each other at social events, we are both the first thing we say to each other is like, what can we eat here? Right?
there
That's
an
like our
herb?
main. Yes. Is there? And for me, the breakfast is the worst meal of the day because it's potatoes, which is a nightshade. Don't stop for a second. I know it's getting too sexy. And also no wheat. So I can't have pancakes.
Yeah.
I can't have French toast or eggs or
Gluten-free oatmeal.
I eat that every single morning.
too.
Bob's Red Mill.
Yeah.
I just add the water.
Oh.
It saved my life.
Yeah.
2 weeks
Now I
later.
do drink a crap load of tequila, which I know you don't. But
Well, should I start though medicinally?
Maybe.
Okay. I'm going to ask my sponsor.
Ask her if cactus is okay.
Yeah.
It's a little strange
Okay.
to have this thing we're talking about, this autoimmune disease,
This
and
sexy-
also being 70.
Right.
So you never quite know. Now,
What
is
is what?
this,
Yeah.
is this what a healthy 70-year-old feels like? Because it's just kind of slowing down a little bit? Or is this your autoimmune disease? So it's always a little bit hard.
It really puts a magnifying glass on a principle I believe in, which is my body only has two states. It's either
Yes.
getting better or worse.
Yes.
There is no homeostasis. There's no
Yes.
like me in neutral. Doesn't exist. And I think, again, I'm almost grateful to have been exposed to that because I have to. Like, it's an absolute necessity, or I can't pick up my kids.
Yeah.
So it's weird these things that are seem like plagues or sentences end up
See, we did turn this into something really very
hot.
sexy.
Yeah, it's very hot, very steamy. So I'll close on this. You just said you're 70, and you seem to hate compliments. Let me just fucking load this gun up and start playing. When you talk about someone to look up to, your youthfulness, your health, from my point of view, your energy at work, your continued productivity creatively, all these things. Like if my dad died at 62. So in my mind, the option is like, I'm fucking out of here in 17 years. That's, and then I look at you and you are my North Star. I'm like, if I can just mimic Ted, if I am you at 70, I am fucking delighted. So I thank you for being a role model that I can follow.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I think that's important because I have one.
Who's yours?
Jane Fonda.
Oh, yeah.
Just turned 80 and she is ferocious.
Yes.
She is out there, standing up for things that are important and working hard and acting and, delighted and interested and demonstrative. She's, and it was like,
Yes.
I have to admit, about a year ago, I started to get a little brittle. I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this because, we're going to retire. And maybe I was starting to plan for penure. I was planning for less, for diminishment.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, why am I doing that? That's insane. So you die, go 80 miles an hour in the direction that seems like it might bring you joy and fun. And who cares what happens
Jump the
along the way.
Lamborghini off of Mulholland. Don't sit in the garage and idle it to death.
Yeah. But certainly at my age, if I'm not doing every day what brings me joy, then I'm an idiot. And there are days when I'm an idiot.
Sure.
But by and large, that's my motto.
Well, I hope you continue on, especially with my wife. I think when this show
Me too.
runs its course, you guys should then do another and another and another.
Hey, yeah.
Stay in my life.
Yeah. I have so enjoyed this because usually it would be rude to carve out this much alone time with you.
Yeah, right.
Because there are other people around or we have to. So, and that's my truth with men, by the way. Because because of that whole mother-father thing that I touched on.
Well, blue pass, really.
Blue pass.
If we're being honest, but you go ahead.
It's like my mind is ground to a halt because of what you just said.
Sorry. But yes, professionally.
But here's my philosophy. It's like men are great. They're relaxing. You can let your guard down. It's fun. It's simple. It's
you can
not
follow your
complicated.
psychiatrist's advice and fart.
Yes.
But
the truth is, they're not where it's at.
No.
It's the woman.
Yes.
So this has been fun, Dax, but I need to go find Kristen or Mary.
Absolutely.
Because that's where it's really at.
I hear you.
But I've had the most relaxing, wonderful time with you.
Well, anytime you need a 2-hour dose of whatever brand masculinity you think I provide, I'm at your disposal. And I love you.
Love you too. Thank you so much.
Bye, Ted Dan. And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman. Ted Danson. Dancing machine. Watch me get up. I can't sing today because, as you can hear, my voice is fucking shot.
Yeah, but you did.
Okay, but I did
just
anyways.
sing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm wrestling a real bear right now, a little upper chest issue. Not to gross anyone out, but there's some business happening in my.
And you refuse to use Vicks Vapor Rub. They're not a sponsor, but I believe in their product.
I'll do it if someone applies it. I don't want it stuck to my fingers and then I itch my eye an hour later. And next thing you know, I'm blind. I guess they won't be a sponsor now.
Yeah,
I just
good job.
accuse them of having a product
Blinding
that blinds people. No, I don't think it blinds you, but yeah, but you know, I am nervous about getting in my eyeball sockets.
I think you're just a little stubborn.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
I am nervous about you being sick though, because we have a big Saturday night ahead of us.
yeah.
And I have a bad feeling you're going to get sick right before the show.
Well,
Because you were pretty sick for Dallas.
yeah. No,
Ye-
Austin.
You weren't doing great at Dallas either. Because remember, I went to 7-Eleven and got you a bunch of treats.
That was Austin.
No, that was Dallas. Oh, was it Austin?
Yeah. Remember, we all got sick in Austin.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I was okay in Dallas. I think. I mean, I was still recovering.
Yeah, you were not. 100%.
It was not 100. No.
But you suffered through Austin. That was. I mean, you got energized by the crowd, but you were hurting.
Yeah. That adrenaline works, though.
It does.
It really works.
What would you say your odds were of having to leave that stage in a hurry while squeezing your butt cheeks?
It was okay. The because I, unlike you, use products to help me.
Okay.
So I
had
taken
gotten you some Imodium.
You had, and it helped.
I keep patting myself on the back about it. Like, what else did I get you? I got you a Three Musketeers bar.
Yeah.
It's your favorite candy bar.
Uh-huh.
Couple different variety of
Cake.
Well, I got you pound cake.
Got me
yeah.
some cake.
But then it's different options for Gatorade too.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
I like yellow, and yellow was an option.
I like orange. Yeah, it's weird. I don't generally gravitate towards orange.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I do not like the red.
it's not for you.
Mm-mm. I feel strongly against the red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You hated that?
No, I just think at some point someone's going to go, what am I listening to?
I know.
People's favorite Gatorade flavors?
All right.
How did Papa Ted do?
He did pretty good. Oh, I thought this was interesting. He said that he practices the names of people he's about to see on his ride over. Like he was on his way and he was thinking Dax and Monica. He didn't know Rob yet, but now he'll say Dax and Monica and Rob.
Did he say if he keeps a little folder in his phone? How's he keeping
No, he says
track?
he does it in his brain.
Oh, okay.
But I thought that was interesting. There's also this New York Times article called 36 Questions That Lead to Love.
Ooh.
It's 36 questions that are meant to increase intimacy.
Oh.
So you're supposed to ask these questions with a partner and really get to know them. But I had a dinner party a couple weeks ago, and we were going through these questions and asking.
Oh, that's a
everyone
fun
questions.
little game.
Yeah, it was really fun. But one of them was, before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Do you?
Oh, always my opening line.
You do.
I mean, that's not true. If I call you, I haven't. But if I'm like returning a call to a businessy person, yeah, I've got my first line.
Interesting. Yeah, it was
You?
pretty half and half when we played the game. I don't.
You don't do it.
Mm-mm.
Fly by the seat of your trousers.
I guess, but you'd think I would.
You seem like the turd of person that would pre-plan that.
I know, I do.
Cover all your bases.
Yeah, but no.
Good for you. You shoot from the hip when it comes to those phone calls.
I don't know what they're gonna say.
True. Well, it's generally a waste of time unless you're going to take the bull by the horns and just launch into a monologue.
Although, if I am confronting someone,
Here we go.
yeah, then I do practice.
Go on.
Mainly in person.
Go on.
What? Why are you saying that?
Because remember, I love it.
Oh, yeah. And I remember I don't like it. I forgot about that, and I just was reminded because I don't like it.
You had a visceral. Oh, I would love it.
It sounds so insincere.
Oh, try it to me. Yeah, I never practice.
Go on.
Well, okay, sometimes I do if it's going to be like a confrontation.
Go on.
All right, so there was this time that this girl stole my
on.
purse. Well, you can't interrupt a
Well, I
sentence.
think maybe you have.
Hey, before we leave this topic, just want to point out from last week that we were informed by a lot of folks on Twitter, luckily, that what we were really talking about was not Lake Okeechobee. It was this complex called the Village.
Yeah, not Lake Okeechobee and not NPR.
Well, it likely was on there as well. It's definitely where I heard it. But it was about the Village, which is a retirement community with 70,000 seniors in it. And there was what we found today was a New York Post article. Although that's not what I had read. I had been told it by a
NPR agent.
Yeah, an NPR agent, representative of National Public Radio. And there's they're just, the rates of herpes, gonorrhea, syphilis, human papillomavirus, they were doubling like in very short spans.
Yeah, increasing heavily.
And it also said in that article that the ratio male to female there is 10-1.
Yeah, that's
guys,
not surprising at all.
Well, it's not surprising, but guys, if you can hang in there, your odds are going to go through the roof.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
10 females to every one guy.
That's surprising to me.
No, because we die so soon. We don't go to the doctor.
Oh, right.
So
but I guess that's true. You're right. That's
just
true.
a bunch of horny seniorettes and slim pickings on the guy side. It's kind of like being a straight male in musical theater. It's a great approach.
I know, but see, so this is I'm starting to poke holes, okay?
All right.
Because if it's...
Go on.
Ugh. Because these women are post-menopausal.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that so many of them are so horny.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Your sex drive goes way down after menopause.
Well, not unlike the men who are on hormone replacement therapy, these gals might be getting a little juiced up in the estrogen department or something.
They might be, but I guess I'm wondering why.
But they
Why
still
would
fuck.
they?
They definitely still fuck. Now, I don't know if sure, it might go down, but I don't know that it goes to zero.
It might not go to zero, but my assumption is the older you get, the more you're going towards zero.
Well, if you are a horny senior and you disagree with this assertion, please reach out to us
Please
at
tweet us.
Armchair Expert, whatever our handle is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and tell us that you're
Super
on
horny.
fire. Yeah. That you have a pain in your lower groin area. Yeah.
Okay, so you referred to lane splitting when you were a motorcycle messenger, and I know that means you are driving in between the cars.
Where the line is.
Yeah, where the two lanes meet.
Yeah. You're
taught
right.
me
I
that.
don't think people would know that
I
around
didn't
the
know that
country.
until you taught me.
Yeah, and the rule's really specific. You're not actually allowed to ride on the line. That's illegal. The law is that you have to be sharing the lane. So if they wanted to get you, they could get you for riding on the line.
Oh, so you're supposed to be next to the car. So that seems so close to the car that you're not even on the line. I hate that.
You don't like it.
That sounds very dangerous.
Maybe this could be your cause. You could go get that.
Should I start a charity about this?
Yes, to amend it. Please don't get it taken away. The only thing that makes me ever feel like a superhero is that ability to lane split in heavy traffic. I think, oh my God, if I weren't a superhero, I'd have to sit in this for an hour and a half. But
Yeah,
instead,
like the rest of us mortals.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you guys know nothing's keeping you guys from getting motorbicycles.
Do you think I could go ride a motorcycle?
100%. I taught you how to play the drums in 4 minutes. So yeah, I think you probably could.
That's because I have a high aptitude for drumming
Oh,
because of
no, I
Rock
think
Band.
It's a coordination
Rock
thing.
Band the game. I would.
Well, fine. Play Excite-A-Bike for 2 weeks, and then we'll get you on a.
I would never.
You
I
can't
would
say that.
I can and I am.
What if you retired in the outback in Australia, and there's no risk of another car seeing one for days? You just get on that open road, let the wind mess up that thick mane of yours.
No, because see, there's more things to be scared of than just other cars. It's like if I fall off the side and then the whole thing falls on me.
Couldn't happen.
Yes, it could. I walk by your motorcycles all the time and I'm like, this could easily fall on me.
And crush you.
Yeah.
I'd feel so bad if I was in the backyard and I heard, and I went into the garage and you were pinned under my Ducati.
Why would I be so quiet about it?
Because it would be on your lungs.
My chest?
Yes.
Minutes away from death?
Yes, just barely enough air to breathe and
You would
stay
be
alive.
so excited if you came out and you saved my life.
Of course I would. I prefer, though, that someone was attacking you. As you know, that's my dream. Even if you have to get a little hurt.
Don't say that to these people. That someone might do it.
I don't think anyone's that cuckoo. Or if they are that cuckoo, I don't think they'll be able to deal with the logistics of finding us to set that up.
If you're gonna attack me, please do it while Dax is in range.
Yeah, you only have permission to attack Monica if I'm right there and can get involved immediately.
I would be so mad at you if I got attacked because you wanted it. You're secretly wanting it. I get it though. It's one of your fetishes.
Sure.
Fantasies.
Well, no, it's one of my erroneous good qualities of mine that I think is a good quality that no one else thinks is.
I would put it more in a fantasy category of wanting to save people like that, like an attack.
Yeah.
Like the quality is you're protective, very hyper,
right,
which is good, but the fantasy is the protection. Like mine, like nurturing is the quality, and then the fantasy is all that other weird
it gets
stuff.
a little perverse. It becomes a proclivity.
Correct.
Yeah, you're right. I'm always hoping someone will just shove Kristen. Like, don't hit her. I don't want her to get hit, but just a shove is enough for me to spring into action.
Sure.
Okay. Also, don't shove her in public.
Are the Hopi Indian a sovereign nation? The Hopi tribe is a sovereign nation located in northeastern Arizona. The reservation occupies part of Navajo counties, encompassing more than 1.5 million acres, and is made up of 12 villages on 3 mesas. His boarding school, Kent School, is based on an English school system. He was talking about that a little bit, and it was founded by an Episcopal monk when the Reverend Frederick Herbert Sill, a graduate of Columbia University, opened Kent's doors in 1906. He had a lot of ideas about the educational value of service, the importance of respecting others and respecting oneself, and the connection between intellectual effort and spiritual reward. Sounds like a good school.
Yeah, I like that creed.
Me too. Boarding school is sexy.
For your fantasy of it, like just a bunch of boys.
Yeah, or girls, like whatever it is, being away and having to spend the night.
Well, many nights.
All the nights.
How does that fantasy play out? Like you work at that school?
It's not an active fantasy. Just the idea of it is sexy to me.
Yeah. I hear you.
You said, okay, Ted was talking about getting hazed. How that was fine. That was like part of the protocol, as older boys could sort of haze younger boys. And you called it code reding. I didn't know what that meant, but that's from A Few Good Men. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a Marine thing.
So it's a practice that you implement that's under the radar, that's unwritten, so that there's plausible deniability. So basically,
they beat someone up who's not fallen in line.
Yeah.
And they do it in a manner where they can plausibly deny it.
Pretty much.
I don't condone that.
Unless you're around and you can
save the person. Yeah, it would be worth me seeing someone get just a couple of hits with that pillowcase full of soap.
Sure.
They'll be fine. And then, I'll come in, swing into action, take 2-3 guys out. And then that person who is getting code redded, they will look at me with a look that I'll probably never get to see in real life.
Adoration.
Just gratitude and love and relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you know the thing about what do they call those guys that they wear a trench coat and they're nude, flashers?
Oh.
I once read that it's not that they want you to see them naked.
Yes.
They love the reaction on people's faces.
Yep.
That's what they're getting off on. Isn't that peculiar?
Yeah, I read about that too.
It's so
when
weird.
I got in trouble for flashing.
You got it? No. Have you ever been flashed?
No.
Oh.
Not in a trench coat. I mean,
have you ever seen someone's penis in public?
On the street? Yes.
But that's just like a guy who's lost his slacks
Correct.
and he doesn't even know what he's doing.
Yeah, he's like just a normal guy.
Right.
Clearly
got separated.
His brain is working completely normally, but he just happened to be on the street with no pants on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You see that a bunch here in
doesn't
LA.
Have any psychological issues. No, I have heard that. And There's a similar weird psychology to voyeurism where it's like.
Well, I'm a voyeur for sure. Yeah, for sure.
But not pathologically.
Not pathologically. Like, I'm not walking around my neighborhood trying to spy on people.
Right.
But when I've been in New York, I can stare at a window where I think someone's going to get naked for 3 hours and not get bored.
Wow.
Yeah, my patience all of a sudden goes through the roof. I'm so impatient as a person, but
Sure.
if I think someone's going to pass the window nude, I'm gonna sit there all day.
Ooh.
So that's a voyeur, right?
No, maybe, but I think that's just more your addiction to naked bodies.
Oh, okay.
I think voyeurism is really about like,
They don't know I'm watching them?
yeah, but also fantasizing about being them, like being in that
Ew.
life. Like a
Oh.
lot of them, will watch like families be families through the window, and it's like it's this like feeling of
Living
becoming
vicariously
that.
through
yes,
them?
yeah,
I'm just trying to see some dong,
I
some
know.
bush, or some boobs.
yeah,
Or some buns.
sure.
Hopefully some coitus. That would be the jackpot.
Oh, really?
If you were in New York and you looked across and you saw two people having sex and they had their windows fully open,
Sure.
so you didn't really feel like, well, if they didn't want me to watch, they might shut their blinds. So you had no ethical dilemma.
Okay.
Would you saddle up and watch the whole thing?
No.
You wouldn't.
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
No, I would feel I would probably watch for a second and then I would feel like they forgot to close the blinds. Like I would not feel like they're fine with it. I would feel that if they looked over and saw me, they would be very upset.
Okay, now how about this scenario? I have an apartment in New York. You're going to borrow it for the weekend. I say to you, hey, warning, the neighbors are exhibitionists. They love to have sex up against their window.
Mm-hmm.
You're in there and then you catch that happening. Do you watch? I guess really the question is, would you like to watch
Right.
people have sex where they couldn't see you, but you
Right.
could see them?
I don't think I do.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think I would.
Yeah. Okay.
One time I was at a friend's house and we looked out the window and the house next door did not have blinds and it was very close, like maybe 2 or 3 feet and no blinds. And one of the girls was undressing and it felt so uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
It was so uncomfortable that but also it was like she has no control over this because they clearly just don't have blinds. They just moved into this place, but we can see her and it's just so uncomfortable. And then, of course, I moved into my place and I didn't have blinds and I was doing the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lucky neighbors.
I didn't care because you just have to stop caring. You can't keep going to the bathroom to change your clothes in your own house.
Yeah, I guess.
Right? Okay. Ted acts like he is not smart and he just like stumbled his way into Stanford, which, okay, if it was just that, I would have maybe believed him, but then he also went to Carnegie Mellon and you cannot have gone to Stanford and Carnegie Mellon and be a dodo brain.
No.
You have to be smart.
Yeah.
You just have to.
Yeah.
And he is smart. We know that. So he was lying to us.
So, yeah, he's not dumb. He's a liar. That's what we found out.
That's right.
He's a humongous liar.
The kids do that all the time where they're like, Delta will be like, Lincoln said the water was by the chimney and it's actually by the couch. She lied to me. Like it's on purpose.
Right.
Oh, so funny. You said we had Lincoln at 38. But just to clarify, you were 38. Kristen was 33.
Yeah.
How many episodes of Cheers were there? And how many did Jimmy Burrows direct? 275 episodes of Cheers. And he is credited as directing 237 of those.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And for people who don't know, he is an icon.
Jim Burrows.
Yeah. He's directed a lot of like the biggest television.
Yeah, if you're interested,
programs.
which you're not. But the bottom line is the way that shows get on the air is that the networks make pilots and they generally make way more pilots than are going to get ordered to series. So when they go out to shoot those pilots during pilot season, they're trying their hardest to get the director that's going to most secure their chance of getting picked up to series. And by far, I think Jimmy Burrows has directed more pilots that have been taken to series than anyone else.
He's highly coveted.
In the drama side, it's Tommy Schlamme and Nutter, David Nutter maybe, where they've both taken like, I don't know, 13 or 14 shows to series. But if you're one of those turkeys who can get a show put on the air as a series, you're in hot demand.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. Tomorrow we have
Darcy.
Oh, sweet Darcy's
Nice.
tomorrow.
Darcy Carden.
Very fun time with Darcy.
Yeah.
Well, I thank Papa Ted for coming in and talk to us, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart,
Thank
soulmate
you.
Monica Padman,
Thank you, Dax
for
Shepard.
keeping this ship straight and narrow,
I'll try.
keeping the facts on the front burner. I love you.
Love you.
Hey, I heard you're about to go meet with a Sonos person
Oh,
to get
boy.
your shit dialed in. Good luck with that.
Thank you.